Hello and welcome back to The Map. This is Britt. My co-host, Professor X and Pretty Boy Howie are not able to be here today, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to just make it a one-woman show. So why not? So I hope that you've all had a super fantastic week. I wanted to talk today a little bit about what adulthood looks like with work and play, and how do we find a balance between those things? Because Lord knows our life should not just be all work, right? What is that saying? All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. You better believe it does. Come on, Johnny, get off your ass and have fun, right? But truly. So I think about these things, and I'm one of those people too who very often put a lot into what I do for work and spend a lot of hours doing my work stuff. And sometimes it leaves me feeling a little bit like, oh my goodness, I'm exhausted and I have no time to play. I don't even want to do anything sometimes on the weekend when it comes around besides take a darn nap. And that makes me feel really old. But that's also part of the adulthood. Like it just is. Like, I know I said that kind of weird. The adulthood, it's part of the adulthood. We're just going to go with it. But truly, it is one of those things where you go, okay, like, is this important for me to do? And I think that what it comes down to is definitely finding that balance and going like, what kind of life do I want? Like, what kind of quality of life do I have right now? And if you are spending all of your time just working and you're not having fun, you're not exploring the world, you're not spending time with family or friends or any of these things, then you need to stop the shit. Like, stop it. Work is work. I mean, yes, money is important. It is. We have to be able to pay our bills. But at the same time, we were just not put here on the earth to work our lives away. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much more to life. There's so much more to experience. And, honestly, I have this conversation with people a lot. I really love to go on vacations. So I try to go somewhere a couple times a year, and I'm super grateful that I'm able to do so. Very often people find that to be impossible for financial reasons or just being busy or what have you. I will tell you, if you make it a priority and that's something you really want to do, then you can absolutely do it. It's not as hard as we make it out to be in our brains. And that time when I go on vacation is the best time of the year. It is so needed and so enjoyed. And I spend the week relaxing. I super love the beach. I love the beach. It's my favorite place in the world. So I go to the beach very often whenever I go on vacation, but I wouldn't have it any other way because I love it. I just love the relaxation, and I love just turning my brain off for a while and not thinking about anything else, not thinking about what I have to do for work. Or, oh, I have to call this person back. Or, oh, I need to check my 100 emails that I probably have gotten in the last hour, or any of these things. It's just being free and enjoying myself and allowing myself to be silly and open and fun and all of these things. And you know what? Even if you are not going somewhere on vacation, maybe truly you can't go on vacation right now, and that's okay. But you can still have those moments of fun and enjoyment and peace and relaxation. Here's an example. Say you have kids. I know a lot of you, I don't personally have any children, but I know a lot of you listening out there do have children, and you find it very hard to get away and do your own thing. If you are at the park with your kids, what's stopping you from going and jumping on a swing too? That's what I want to know. What is stopping you? Who told us that it wasn't okay for us to go swing anymore because we're an adult? Who said that? Society? Screw society. Who cares if we get funny looks? If you want to go swing on that swing, go swing on that swing. Even if maybe you don't at first, you should try it anyways, because I guarantee you it's going to feel fun. You're going to feel your stomach drop the way it does whenever you get really high. And honestly, if you're out there with your kiddos, like they're going to love it. They're going to love that you're out there with them swinging and having fun, and you're just kind of letting loose. And in that moment, you're having fun with your family, and you're letting go of everything else, and you're just experiencing life. That is what we should be doing. That's where that balance comes into play. No matter what you're doing from day to day, there's always time somewhere if we make the time to enjoy ourselves. I personally am, I'm actually about to start school back, and I have just been so nervous about what that's going to look like, because I am going to be going to class Monday through Thursday, and I'll have lots of hours of class and lab. And then after that, I'm going to be going directly to work. And then I work through the evening. And I'm wondering, where in the world am I going to have time to do my paperwork for the office after the work stuff, and my homework and my studying? And then am I going to have a life at all? Am I going to be able to have fun with people, or go out, or even just enjoy anything, because I'm going to be so worried about this stuff? And the answer to myself is, yeah, Britt, you'll still have time. Like, as long as you make time, as long as you schedule that in for yourself. And so I am already trying to set myself up in my head as going like, yes, these things are all very important, and you are going to definitely be pressed for time, but that doesn't mean you don't get to play. That doesn't mean that you don't get to have fun. That doesn't mean you don't get to enjoy yourself, or still go on vacations, or do any of these things. Like, no, I'm making that a priority. I can still do the things that I need to do and have fun. And sometimes I will say we have to sacrifice certain things. There was a period of time I remember going, you know what? If I don't have cable, or if I don't go out to eat, or, do some of these things in order for me to be able to go play and have fun, to go on vacation or do something like that, then okay, I'm willing to sacrifice cable. I'm willing to make some changes here and there, because that stuff is so important. It's so, so important. Like, we have got to find the balance. And this is where, again, whenever you think about work, comes money, kind of like I mentioned before. And money is just something that very much fuels the world, unfortunately, and fuels a lot of people whenever it comes to decisions on how you want to lead your life. And we always think like, we're keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. Like, we have to have the biggest and the best and the brightest and all of those things. And we're constantly comparing ourselves to what everyone else has, which is terrible. We don't really find ourselves being grateful as much as we should, because we're always going, oh, well, this isn't as good as the next person's though. And, maybe I'm embarrassed about that. Maybe my house isn't as good as the next person's house, my friend's house, or maybe somebody just got a new car, or maybe somebody just happened to tell me how much that they're making per year, and I don't match that even close. Or maybe I see somebody going on these vacations or doing all of these things, and I'm not able to do that. And we just think to ourselves like, okay, like, I'm supposed to be doing that. I need all of those things, and I need to be making more money. And more money means more time at work. You're already spending all of these hours, and then we're like, oh, I need more, I need more, I need more. So now there's all of this overtime. You know what I mean? Like, I know that some of you out there can relate to this. And the thing is, it's really just not the most important thing. Yes, I agree. Luxuries of life are really super awesome. And I would be lying out my teeth if I said I didn't enjoy luxuries. Like, if I am going to a resort somewhere, for example, I like the luxuries. I like someone to bring me my drink, and, I like things to be nice and beautiful. I don't want it to be all run down and ragged and all of those things. Like, I do enjoy the luxuries of life. So I get it. I do. But at the same time, sometimes you go, what is most important here? Is it important that I work overtime to be able to buy the $600 purse because I think that I need it because all my friends have it? No. I will tell y'all right now, if I spend more than $35 on a purse, I want someone to slap me because that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I do not get that in the least bit. I mean, if truly you have that money and it makes you happy to do that and spend that, then by golly, you just do that and enjoy it. But if you're saying, I'm going to spend this hard-earned money where I had to work all of these hours and overtime and all of this just to have this thing that I think that I need because other people have it, what are you doing with your life? You need to rethink some things because that is not where it's at. And with those sorts of things, doing that, you're not going to find any balance. You are just so not going to find any balance. That is not the way to go. There's also little things I think of too. Just during the week, sometimes I will just go, you know what? I could really use a pedicure. So I'm going to go have a pedicure. And that's one of my balances. That's one of my ways that I choose to enjoy life and make time for that. And I make it a priority. And I say, okay, this is what my schedule looks like from this time to this time. Or you know what? Maybe I just go and lay in the hammock outside. I will tell y'all, I have a hammock in my backyard, and if you do not have a hammock, you should get one because it's amazing and so perfect. And this is where a little bit of my poetic heart comes out, but to just lay and experience nature and hear the leaves dance in the wind and the birds are singing to me and just all of the little sounds that you hear, the wind and sometimes even like whenever it's stormy, I love storms. I love all the sounds and smells that come with storms. Just connecting with nature out there like that also is one of those things where you go like, oh, okay, I'm going to make time to do that. Even if it's just 30 minutes, like going for 30 minutes and saying, you know what? I allow myself this time to get out of my head, get away from work, get away from everything that's going on. And this 30 minutes is just mine. And I'm scheduling it in. Like, nobody better bother me. Like, I'm turning off my phone for 30 minutes, except for maybe like putting some music on. And I'm just going to enjoy myself. I'm just going to have this time for myself because that is something I absolutely need. And so I definitely, like, that is my advice to y'all in that regard. Like, whatever your week looks like, take time out for yourself. Like, it is so, so, so important to take time for yourself. And then this is where friends and family comes in too. Like, we've got to do that too. I will say I am guilty of honestly kind of being a horrible friend in that regard sometimes because I am one of those people that really have a hard time keeping up with people, text messaging or calling someone back. It may be days. I think that there's been times where it's been weeks, like, oh my goodness. Sorry, Whitney, by the way. I know I do this to you all the time. So I apologize. I love you. I'm so sorry. And all of you who I am really terrible with keeping in touch with, I am so sorry. Like, I know that I'm so bad at it and I should be better. I really should. Like, I need to work on that because that also is important. And that is part of the thing that I'm talking about, like, again, finding that balance between time and fun. Like, what is most important in our lives? What do we need to make time for? We need to make time for going out with people too. And honestly, regardless if you are introverted or extroverted, like, we as humans are social people. You know what I mean? Like, we are social people. We need connections. And that is something sometimes that's hard to find. Even like some of our other podcasts, we were kind of talking about friendships and what that looks like and how it's difficult sometimes to really find those people that you connect well with. So when you do find those people that you connect with, you need to spend some time with them. You need to get out with them. You need to make time in your busy, 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 busy life to enjoy that as well, to find those connections. Because if you're not, like, this is part of the human experience, right? Like, connecting and having all the emotions and having all the good times and the bad times and the, like, everything that's part of all of it. And that includes spending time with people. And if you are just constantly working, constantly trying to get that money, constantly just focused on that alone, you are missing out on life. And again, I say this to you all, but I am totally preaching to myself as well. And the reason I even thought about this podcast again was because I am in a place right now where I'm about to have so much going on in my life, and I have got to make sure that that balance is found. I've got to make sure that I'm still doing the stuff that I love and enjoy and still connecting with people. I can't just shut myself off to the world. I've got to have that balance. Or, right, what do they call it? The yin and yang, is that right? Am I remembering that right? Isn't that about balance? So that's kind of what I'm seeing in my head right now. We've got to have that balance, and it's hard. It's so hard. And I will tell you, like, sitting here saying this, I know it sounds easier said, right? Like, we can sit here and say this all day, but actually following through with that is the hard part. And not even just making time, but finding the motivation. I think that that's a problem too sometimes, because kind of like I said before, we've had a long week, and maybe you have kids or maybe you don't. Either way, like, you've been working and you've been doing things. And of course, outside of regular work, we have house stuff as an adult. We have responsibilities. Like, what the hell is that? Stupid adulthood. Come on. Like, can we not have that? That's, responsibilities, obligations. Oh my, so terrible. There's lots of really great things about being an adult, but some of it just flat out sucks. Just like, again, the responsibilities. So even if you have all of that stuff going on, my point is, like, you got to still make time. Like, you've got to find the motivation somehow. Even if you don't want to, you've had all of this stuff that you've been doing and you go, I'd rather just stay in. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to lay here. Sometimes that's okay. And sometimes it's really wonderful and so nice to just have that time to lay and relax and have just a PJ day, like veg out on the couch, watch some Netflix series, binge watch something maybe that day, but don't make that the norm. And I know some of you, girls too, I was going to say some of you fellas, but girls too, people have gotten so into these video games too. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on video games. I think that there's a time and place for them. But at the same time, some people really take it to an extreme where that becomes all that they do. Like, if they're not working, they're playing video games. And that also is sort of keeping you away from doing other things that are life, like experiencing life, like getting out, having other just experiences. Like I said, like going somewhere new, trying something new, like go to a new place. I remember, okay, so I love karaoke, but we went to this karaoke place that was, oh my goodness, I don't know. It was like this Asian karaoke something another. And it was the weirdest thing. And it wasn't like open where everybody could hear you. You had your own room, which really kind of freaked me out. I was like, what did we get ourselves into? Am I going to get stabbed? Is somebody going to proposition me? Like, what's happening? But it actually turned out to be really hilarious and super fun. And that was just one of those things where, we spontaneously went like, let's just do this thing. And we've never been here. We've never done this. Let's go do it. So it was a new experience. It was fun. And it was a memory that's going to be in my head for a long time. And it was a fun memory and a fun experience and silly and weird and all of these things. Like the kind of stuff that I wouldn't have gotten if I just chose to stay at home and sit on my couch. And so sometimes we do have to go like, oh, I don't really feel like it. I'm kind of tired. But you know what? I need to experience life sometimes. Like I need to get out. I need to have fun. I need to decompress. I need to get away. Sometimes, honestly, just getting out of our house and getting out of our regular routine and all of those things is so refreshing. It just allows you, again, to get outside of the normal thoughts, the mundane, the monotonous, just all of that. Just get out of it. I think that we should all sometimes be a little spontaneous. Planning is great, but spontaneity is exciting, and we need that. Again, that's part of that human experience that we tend to miss out on when all we're focused on is working money. Like, no, get out, like do stuff. And it doesn't even have to cost money, by the way. The things that you do, just like I was talking about the hammock, like you can do all kinds of things. I remember whenever I was younger, actually, and again, this is if you have kids, this is something you can do with your kids. But one of the things that I remember and that I loved is just going to a park and having a picnic. Just putting out a pallet, get you an old sheet, an old blanket, go put it under a tree and just kind of lay there and eat your food and roll around and play some frisbee, climb a tree, do like all of those sorts of things that we tend to not do anymore. Just, I remember that being some of my favorite memories, like flying a kite, like just running around in an open field, just free and not worried about anything. And again, yes, of course I was a child, but that doesn't mean that just because we're an adult that we can't do those things. I love going out to the lake as well. We actually, have some people. I have some friends who have a boat and they so generously let us go out on it very often. So that is super relaxing a lot of times too. And just going to the lake in general, anywhere, and finding a little place to swim or lay, just listen to the water and feel the sun, kiss your skin, all of these sorts of things. Like that's so awesome too. I'm trying to think of just some of the other things that I've done that really don't take any money. The trails. Oh, there's some really great trails over here. If you have any trails by your house, just to kind of hike around and just look at things. There have been butterflies that are humongous and beautiful that are so fun to look at. And it's like you walk into this whole different place. It's like going to this little jungle area. It's something that you wouldn't have expected, maybe, like, especially if you live up here in the city and you kind of put yourself in a place that's something like that. And you see all of these different flowers and wildlife and all of these things where it's just kind of a whole new experience and gets you away from everything. So again, my point is just that when it comes to work and play, we've got to find that balance, and we've got to, honestly, it's kind of self-care. You know what I mean? Like we kind of don't take care of ourselves. We all kind of suck at that as adults. We're very bad at that because, again, we don't ever find the balance. We're always so focused on all of these other things that we're obligated to do that we don't actually schedule in any of the things that we actually need. That is part of experiencing life, experiencing other people, finding connections, having fun. Like, you don't want to lay on your deathbed at the end of life and go, well, I worked a lot. No, that's not what you want. You want to go, wow, I have all of these awesome memories. Like, I've made all of these experiences in my life happen. Like, I've taken these opportunities. Like, I've met so many wonderful people. I've touched so many people's lives. All of this stuff, like, that's what you want to say. That's what you want to look back on. You don't, again, want to go like, wow, I wish I would have worked less. Wow, this money that I'm not going to be able to take with me on my death, like, what was it all for? Maybe I enjoyed some luxuries of life, but did I really experience life? That's where it's at. Make a point to schedule yourself in some time for you. Really make it happen. Even if you don't feel motivated, even if you feel tired, take you some B12, get you some apple juice. You can do it. Once you get out there and actually do stuff, it's better. Like, you feel more energized. You feel like, oh, okay, yeah, like I can do this now. Maybe try a new class. They have lots of Groupon stuff, which are really fun. I love going to little things like painting with a twist. Maybe that's not your cup of tea, but there's always something out there. Go and take a dance class or something. Like I'm also teaching myself piano and music production, and I sing, and these are all little things that I've just kind of done because I know that I need that. I know that I need that balance. I know that I need that enjoyment. Those things that are nothing that I get out of it is negative. Like it's just fun, and it's so needed, like I said. So any of these things, like find what your thing is, try some new things. If you try it and you don't like it, that's fine. Nothing happens. It's totally fine. It doesn't matter. And even if you're like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to like that. That sounds kind of weird, or that sounds stupid, or that sounds like too much work, or, whatever it is, just try it. Just get out of your head and try it. Just throw that thought to the wind and try it. If you don't like it, again, that's fine. You can do something else, but just try it and have fun with it. And this is another thing. Get rid of the expectations, because sometimes people think like, okay, I haven't done this in a long time. I haven't given myself time, and I'm going to do this thing, and maybe it's going to be the best thing ever, or I'm going to try this new art project and it's going to be perfect. And I have this idea in my head of what it's going to look like, and get rid of all that. That's not the point. You are not doing these things for it to be the best thing ever in the world. You're not doing this thing to be like a masterpiece of everything. Like you're doing this thing because you need balance. You're doing this thing to enjoy yourself. So when you put that kind of pressure on yourself, like, oh, it has to be this, or I'm thinking it needs to be like this, you're ruining it for yourself. Stop it. Like just go have fun. Whatever happens, let it be. Live in the moment. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things out there. There's so many quotes and all of that say live in the moment. And I absolutely agree with that to an extent. Now, sometimes we do need to plan and all of these things, but living in the moment as far as like just providing yourself with enjoyment and just, finding that thing that helps you self-care and decompress and get away from everything. You gotta do that. You gotta just do that and not put expectations. Just do it. Just enjoy it. Just let yourself be, let yourself experience. Because again, that is part of life that if you're not doing these things, you are missing out on. If you are just working so many hours a week, I know there's some people I hear them say, oh, I worked 80 hours a week this past week. And, and then I had to do all these things. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? You got to make time. You got to make time for other things. Life is not about just working yourself to death. It is not. So if you take anything from this solo podcast, please take that life is worth living. Life is worth experiencing. Get out there. Do something. If you have not scheduled in time for yourself or time to have fun this week, do it. Like, do it now. Look at your busy schedule and figure out where can I fit this in? If it's 30 minutes, if it's a whole night, whatever it is. Honestly, even if it's going and soaking in the tub, if that's your you time, like that's fine. But just make time for yourself. Find the balance. It's so important. And also why I do this podcast now, because I wanted something, again, to be fun and enjoy and kind of just talk about things. And I like that. That is something that I'm scheduling in for myself. So anyways, I hope that you can take something from this, and I hope that y'all enjoyed listening. And hopefully this next week, Professor X and Pretty Boy Howie will be back soon. And we still are thinking about having some guests on the show. We wanted to kind of get a few podcasts in first before we had some guests coming. But that is still something that we're thinking about doing. So we will probably have different people in the future. But I hope you all have the grandest week ever. Make time for yourself and enjoy. The map out.